With a rich history of success, Cambridge Stud may have a new look, but the dedication to producing champions continues under the new ownership of Brendan and Jo Lindsay and the management of Henry Plumptre and Marcus Corbin. With some of the best sires in Australasia represented in their 2020 Karaka draft, the yearlings also feature the blood of some of the very best New Zealand families. Henry, well, it's been now 12 months since the first Karaka yearling sale that Brendan and Jo Lindsay were selling through the Cambridge or under the Cambridge banner. It's been a big year, obviously, at ups and downs, but great to see, you know, a year further down the track, a beautiful group of yearlings.
Yeah, we've got a nice group of yearlings, Caroline. It's, I think the New Zealand industry, as you know, is on the edge of either something great or maybe something not quite so great, but as I said last year, I think hope springs eternal off the back of that report that we are going to get some traction. It's still a great industry, and the main farms are producing great drafts of yearlings, and they had a very good spring in Australia, which is our biggest client, last year, and I think we've probably got the yearlings to build on that this year.
Well, starting for Karaka 2020 with the Ifraj Keeper Cheval colt. He's got a lovely sort of solid body about him, doesn't he? Very much like his father, Ifraj, who's been a really strong influence in recent times. But just a, you know, really nice yearling to start with.
Yeah, he's a nice yearling. Belongs to a very good friend of Brendan and Jo, David Archer. Obviously, he's a half-brother to the Bostonian, who's really carried the banner for New Zealand over the past year, sprinting distances. He's a nice solid-bodied colt, as you say, and he should be very popular in the market.
The second colt is the Schnitzel from Katie Lee. So anyone with a Schnitzel in their draft, you know, that's absolutely gold at the moment, the way he's going as a champion Australian sire. Katie Lee, we know she was a fabulous Guineas winning filly, won the 2000 Guineas, beating the boys too. And, you know, he's just a real professional, this colt, isn't he? I mean, he's obviously had a lot of attention, but he just gets along, but he's got a light action too.
Nice light action. He wasn't a very big foal, but Schnitzel, I remember him when he was a foal. I remember him when he was a yearling, not very big. But they have big actions, and he's light on his feet. Realistically, the mare needs to come up with a good one. We think there's a good one. The 2-year-old this year is by Ifraj, which Graham Rogerson bought last year. He's only had one start on quite a firm track at Ellerslie, and he was a bit disappointing, but I think he goes very well. So I think the mare has got the goods there to produce. She has an Almanzor now, and we're looking forward to that. But I think the Schnitzel colt will go well.
Then we have the Tavistock Zonza colt. There's a lot of Zabeel about this fellow too. He's got that huge stride and the lovely Tavistock sort of bright bay, and obviously, you know, the half to Bavella, who was a really speedy sort of a Schnitzel type. How do you kind of compare the two?
He's a really lovely colt. A lot of people have seen him say that they remind him of Tarzino at the same stage. It's a classic cross. Sir Patrick was very strong on Tavistock over Zabeel mares, and although people tend to rush to the well a bit with that sort of cross, you know, and overdo it. I mean, she was a stakes-winning Zabeel mare, so she is, you know, clearly her first foal was Bavella, who's a stakes winner. We've got a very nice More Than Ready filly, a 2-year-old that we're racing. Third, her first start, she runs at Ellerslie on Sunday. We've got very high hopes for her. She's definitely a black type. So we think he'll go really well. He's probably the pick of our colts.
He's very mature too already, isn't he?
Yes.
Considering the pedigree, yeah.
Yeah, he is. He's very mature. Mentally, he's very mature as well, which is a good thing. No, we're you know, big anticipation with him.
The next colt is by Exceed and Excel from Trisha O. So it's an O'Reilly mare, the Tovago, My Trisha, the Grosvenor family as well. He's sort of a shorter coupled kind of Exceed, isn't he? So that puts a bit of speed into him. Really powerful behind too.
He looks a classic type of Exceed and Excel, really. And we bred a stack of them at Godolphin, raced a lot of them very successfully. They generally were shorter coupled types, precocious looking horses. Sir Patrick bred him, and he specifically sent that mare to Exceed and Excel to see if he could try and get a colt. I think he'll sell very well. I mean, I think the marketplace loves Exceed and Excel. He's been an incredible stallion on both sides of the world. And, you know, he's in the twilight of his life now, but he's still producing Group 1 horses. So what's not to like about him?
Lot 31, this is a Tavistock Kilfenora filly. Again, a Zabeel mare. The dam's a sister to St Reims and Champagne, so it's that lovely Bonneval imposing lass, really current family. She's solid, isn't she? She's got a good action herself and a lovely sweet temperament.
Yeah, she's got lovely action, nice scope, which you want to see in a Tavistock. Marcus Corbin tells me that she reminds him a lot of Champagne as a yearling, who was bred by Bob Emery, of course, a great client of Cambridge's. I think she's a really sweet filly. I think she should be very popular in the marketplace, yes.
Lot 283 by Savabeel from Silk Pins. Of course, the dam by Pins was second in the Karaka Million, so very forward, sort of early kind of 2-year-old family. She's had 3 to race for 2 winners. It's the Fan Freluche family of Costa de Lago, Flying Spur, and like a lot of his good fillies, Savabeel fillies, a really lovely, nice kind of dark brown filly and really feminine, but very strong too.
She's very strong. She's been absolutely cracking yearling the whole way through. It was a lovely foal. She was bred by a very good client at Cambridge, Max Whitby, and he obviously raced the mare. Look, I think she'll sell very well. We actually recommended to Max that he kept it to race, and he decided for one reason or another he wanted to put her on the market. I think he's got plenty of Savabeels, Max.
Yes,
but
true.
We were very happy to prep her for him. She's a beautiful filly, and I think she'll go very well.
And finally, lot 411, another by Ifraj. This is from Zanella. The dam's a sister to Zephyron and a half to Forever Loved. So really strong, you know, Trista Love family. She's the third dam. And we're seeing Ifraj, as I mentioned before, being a very good broodmare sire already, even as a young broodmare sire. She's quite a leggy sort of filly, but she's not really, you know, overly big.
No, she has got a bit of leg under her, and so has the 2-year-old, which we're racing, which is by Medaglia Doro. We kept her. She goes really well. We like her a lot. So I think that mare, again, she's a young mare. She's a group winner by Zabeel. I'm sure that's going to be a very good formula for us going forward. And Ifraj, I don't know whether the Chitties are going to bring him back next year or this year, but he's been a phenomenal stallion in this part of the world. I mean, he's been a phenomenal stallion globally. I think he's had 7 or 8 individual Group 1 winners, and that's a big record for a stallion, and very much part of the reason why we bought Almanzor, who's a grandson, was to continue that line. And you know, I think she'll sell very well.
So overall, with the sales series coming up, I mean, we've seen a pretty good start to the year with a lot of money flying around already at yearling sales. But how do you see this as far as the buying bench and, you know, coming a lot of obviously Asian buyers, all the Aussies are there as always. But from within New Zealand, it's probably a bit tougher, isn't it, until the prize money increases? But it should still be a strong sale, you'd hope.
We absolutely have to focus on our market and our major customer, which is Australia, and how do we maintain relevance in this marketplace here. We should not be trying to compete or trying to compare with Magic Millions. We should not be trying to produce what they want to buy up here, because they're totally different rearing systems. I think if the New Zealand breeders stick to their knitting and keep producing those horses, which may develop slightly slower, but ultimately they are good, tough, middle distance horses, I think that's what we've got to do. And we've got to focus on a client base and keep promoting the fact that we can produce those horses, you know. I think trying to go toe for toe with a market like this and trying to breed those sort of horses, it just doesn't work, you know. So Peter Vella is a bit of a sage in New Zealand, and I respect what he says. He said to me once when I was talking about getting a sprinting stallion to come to New Zealand, he said, "Sometimes it works, Henry, but you are asking New Zealand breeders to put their knitting to one side and try something different." He said it doesn't work very often. So I think that's what we've got to do. We always approach Karaka with a little bit of trepidation, coming off the back of a sale like this. But we know that we've had a lot of visits this year from Australia, Hong Kong, ready to run. A lot of people are coming back for the yearling sales. So fingers crossed, we just hope that it goes well.